Kuro maufe numetole, kuro ayisimo. What we said was greetings to all Africans, because these messages are for African people only. Kudo ayisimo, that is greetings since last time. All of that being in the the phone dialect of the Aja language. We are His Imperial Majesty Axosu Agelogbagan, Agbovi the paramount monarch of the only maroon monarchy, unfortunately only maroon monarchy that exists, African maroon monarchy in the world, which is Ganlodo. In that we have the title of Ganlodo Hosu. We also have the unique title of Kilombo Hosu, Maroon King. And for those that don't know, we were actually directly, physically coronated as an Axosu. Axosu is king in the Aja language. In the year 6251, which that would have been 2010 for those that follow the Gregorian calendar. Today's plump or lesson is to address a sickness that is being perpetuated, peddled, and whatnot, primarily in the Isese tradition, so-called Yoruba or Ifa-Orisha, as they like to miscall it. And also you see it in African Vodun. Not as much, but it's a problem. It's there enough to address. Haven't seen it much in the Akom tradition of the Akan people. And that is what we call ma-tuto in the phone language, phone dialect. We had to come up with that term because there is no term for homosexuality in Yoruba or phone. We have not been able to find that. We know Igbo people, they don't have it either. So we came up with the term ma-tuto. Ma-tuto means disorder. And when using English, instead of saying homosexuality, because that word really doesn't make any sense. Homosexual, that doesn't make any sense to apply to this nasty stuff that they're doing. It just doesn't make sense. So we use the term dissexuality. Dissexuality not only includes women to women relations, men to men relations, but also interracial relationships. All of that is ma-tuto. All of that is dissexuality. All of that is sexual deviancy from a maroon perspective. Understand that. We're not just, because a lot of people, when they talk about so-called homosexuality, they tend to kind of focus on men. We've seen some very twisted thinking from brothers over the years, where they'll just be disgusted at two men being together, and then two women is okay, and all this menage a trois stuff. All of that is dissexuality. All of that is ma-tuto in the phone language. So we here want to now let's back up. For a maroon, we follow, and those that follow true Vodun, we follow what is called Besu. Besu is the laws of the universe, the laws that Mawu Lisa, the creator, set forth upon voicing the universe into the world, which eventually resulted into us coming into being the only humans, which are African people. So some things are naturally written. We say that to say, you don't always have to find something in a book, like a holy book or something, to tell you what to do. You see nature, nature is beautiful, don't destroy nature. It doesn't have to be anything in a book that says that, right? Religious people need a book. They need verses, they need quotes. Now, when we say religious, some of y'all may be thinking we're just confining that to Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hebrews, Moses, whatever. No. We have many religious people in African traditions. We have what is called, for those that don't know, the sacred Odu Ifa. There are 256 Odu Ifa, countless amounts of stories and verses that address all aspects of life. It is what we use to draw the wisdom set forth by Orunmila to address the positive and negatives of life. How to go forward, how not to go backwards, how to elevate if you do have Ire, which is blessing, how to elevate it more, how to get rid of a Sogbo or Ayewo, which is negativity, and maximize your life from a family development and nation building perspective. Now you'll only hear Maroon say family building and nation building, family development and nation building. But even though our sacred Odu Ofun Meiji says that family is the first shrine, many people, because it doesn't say exactly nation building and family development, they can't fathom that. That is religious thinking. That being said, we want to come to you with, we think 3 Odu. 1, 2. Let's see. 1, 2. Yeah, 3 Odu and 4 verses that speaks on this thing about dissexuality. This is for those that need to hear it out of a holy book. These verses we have drawn from the book Iwe Fun Odu Ifa, which can be found at restorationhealing.com. Once again, we can be reached at akabo@gmail.com. Akabo is like how to say welcome to a person in Yoruba. So that is EKAABOKILOMBO@gmail.com. So now this is for those that need to hear it from the holy scripture or something like that. This is from the Odu Ofunirete. We're not going to give the Yoruba. We want to shrink this video. Given the Yoruba, we're big on language, but for this video, we need you to hear it plain English, because 98% of the people we're speaking to, well, probably 100% of the people that watch these videos, they speak English. Ofunirete says, palm oil is good to complement yam for consumption, and yam is good as complement for eating palm oil. We're already seeing the idea of complementarity, balance, what we call ho-ho, ejiwapo, ho-ho in phone, ejiwapo in Yoruba. A woman is better for a man to make love to than another woman. A woman is better for a man to than another man. A man is better to make love to than a woman sleeping with another woman. If a man sleeps with a man, it will result into lumps, boils, and yaws, these various diseases. If a woman makes love to another woman, it will result into murk, stinking odor, dirt, and irritation. If a man makes love to a woman and a woman sleeps with a man, the result is feeling like being on top of the world. The feeling is like having unlimited and unqualified enjoyment. Ofunirete's organ is strong and turgid. This was the Ifa cast for the chronic bachelor. When going to marry Olele, the offspring of Olofa, the chronic bachelor called upon Olele, but she did not answer. The problem is not more than what Ifa can solve. Once again, for those that are still have the religious mind and need to hear it, because a lot of people are saying that homosexuality is accepted in African tradition. Homosexuality has always been in African tradition. That is absolutely false. That is absolutely false. Now let's say something about this before we forget. Why do these verses even appear? let us go back to the dynamics of Odu Ifa. Odu Ifa, the order and the names of the Odu Ifa are set in stone. So you have Agelogbagan through, well, the first 16, Agelogbagan through Ofun Meiji, Epa Odu. Then you have Oshetura, which is the bridge. Then they combine with each other to make 256 Odu. Some of the verses many of the verses are ancient, but some are fairly new. Take for instance, when you see verses in Oshe Meiji that talk about the city of Ibadan. That is a Yoruba town that was created in the 19th century. So that means some of those verses are no more than 200 years old. Now, the appearance of these verses that we're sharing with you more than likely points to the fact of the degenerate influence of the Arabs who accept homosexuality. They talk all that noise on the surface, but they really accept it. And the Europeans, in particular the British. So these verses are probably not that ancient, but they found their way into Odu Ifa to address a matter. Once again, verses that deal with the founding of Ibadan and Oshe Meiji, accepted by all Yoruba, especially people in Ibadan. Matter of fact, they have an Oshe Meiji festival every year because Oshe Meiji is the Odu that founded their city, right? So there is nothing wrong with coming up with new verses if it is in alignment with Besu, the natural law of Maulisa, Besu. Right? So we want to explain that. So the only reason these are not ancient verses implying that this was an ancient issue for the Yoruba people. Iwari Odi states, Iwari took a fanciful look at the genital and considered it a proper practice. Do you consider Iwari who looks at the genital as a good Iwo? This was Ifa's declaration to Panlapo, who failed to secure a husband to marry, but chose to be in love with another woman. She was advised to offer Ebo, sacrifice. A woman who makes love to another woman, don't you know that she is just looking at a non-productive, lifeless genital? These are not our words. This is from the Odu Ifa coming from Yoruba land, period. So some of you should rest assured that these verses this is not from us. We have the right to create verses, but we would say that if that was the case. So Tito Sododo, the Odu Ifa says, truthfulness, uprightness, right? So many people, think the sun rises and sets on the Yoruba people. Many people in the Isese tradition. So know for sure that this comes from your Yoruba source. Another one in the Warrior OD says, if this is the way we administer the community would have been very desirous to live in. This was Ifa's message to the citizens of Iwori Wodi, a play on the name of the Odu, who were advised by Ifa to send all Omo Osu away. Those who, after getting married once, chose to perform sexual intercourse with another woman, with other women. They were advised to offer Ebo. If this is the way we administer the community, would the community have been this desirous to live in? Meaning everything is run amok. So in this Odu, Ifa explains that Omo-Osu, or Ilem-Osu, right? It's a woman who had once been married, but due to one reason or another, they went back to their, got divorced, whatever happened, and went back to their parents' house to live. But when she got back to her parents' house to live, she vowed to never have nothing to do with a man anymore, and actually chose to be with women, literally. So it's interesting because we see this phenomenon here in America, and pretty sure it's everywhere else, because America has found a way to degenerately influence everybody else. Have this phenomenon where these women, they make all the wrong choices in men, right? Or, have a bad experience or two. And say, I ain't dealing with no man no more. I'm dealing with women. They are in the Odu Ifa, according to Odu Ifa, they are called Omosu or Ilemosu, right? So we have a lot of Ilemosu in our communities. This Odu tells us that such people should be packing, should be sent away, should pack up and exiled. Not just the Ilemosu, but a man that want to be with a man. They should be exiled. Now, this is for y'all that you need to hear it from a holy book. So here you have it from the holy scriptures of Ifa, which don't get no better than this, right? And this is because they were practicing an immoral act, anti-African, anti-spiritual act, breaking taboos which must be condemned and stopped. Condoning such an act can only lead to chaos in the end. This is the reason why whenever this Odu is revealed during Ifa consultation, the client is advised to ensure that any immoral and anti-spiritual act being practiced by such a person in his or her home or in this vicinity or in their circle should be stopped. And they should remove themselves from around such people. Period. Nothing else. Now, we want to add this one last verse from Obara Odi to address another degenerate phenomenon that we have only heard in the Isese tradition. By the way, we also at Gunlodo, we live the Isese tradition and Vodun. In fact, Isese is a branch of Vodun. So when we say Isese, it's not like we're separated from Isese. But when we talk about people in the Isese tradition doing something negative, that does not speak negatively of Isese itself. It speaks to the Ori Aisan, the impaired head of the people involved in this type of stuff. So this other unnatural phenomenon is categorizing certain degenerate acts under the deity Ashun. And in fact, many people put, because each deity governs particular phenomena, particular things. One may embody courage, another embodies statesmanship, another embodies beauty, another embodies taking care of the home, another embodies the river. So they will say that the deity Ashun governs homosexuality and dissexuality. And when they say that, they're saying it in a positive way. Like, yes, that's cool to do because she governs, she is the deity of homosexuality. And not in one verse of Odu Ifa, for those that are religious, you will ever find that. You'll never find Ashun engaged in dissexual behavior in any Odu Ifa or any Itan, that's a story, or any of the deities doing such a thing, engaging in matuto. That is an outright lie. And that was started by various Lukumi people who had come from Cuba, who got kicked out of Cuba because they were dissexuals, and they brought their version of Santeria Lukumi to Miami and New York. They couldn't stay in Cuba anymore. So they made up all these lies about Yemoja and Ashun. They govern homosexuality. This one, they say, now they say that Ashun governs prostitution, stripping, like strip clubs and all that. We ran into, we're from Mobile, Alabama. So when we were first coming to the culture, we had to do a lot of traveling to study with people. Then we eventually moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And we started to meet people there. right? In the tradition. We were happy because we were meeting people finally our age in the tradition. Everyone knows that, especially back then, Atlanta really known for strip clubs, right? So, like, whatever. So we're in the West End, and we're riding with this guy who was initiated. And I must have said, when did that get there, right? And it's a strip club called Queen City. The guy said, don't you know, that's the strip club for Babalaos. We all go in there. I said, I won't be going. I wasn't initiated then, right? Had no titles, no nothing. I said, no. It's kind of like somebody say something and then you, later on, you like, wait, did he say that? You know? And so I started to find out about the degeneracy of the Isese community in Atlanta. Then it went so far as to, I was running into people, because you know you got to catch them in real time. You got to ask them questions whereas they don't know exactly what you're getting at. And so eventually, women and men, they would say, oh yeah, Oshun governs that. So we went on a quest. What else does she govern degenerate like that? We find out from other people that were from a particular village and all that, says Oshun is over prostitution and orgies. All of that is governed by her. It's okay to do that in our tradition. And this might sound religious, but we were like, show it to us in the Odu Ifa. They never could do that. Then we traced it back once again, like we said, to dissexual Cubans coming over here and trying to spread that filth, and the black American, being the cultural child of the world, followed that. So this one talks about prostitution for those that need to hear something out of a holy book. A small cup of water, the awo of women, cast for a prostitute who slept with any and every man she encountered. She was warned that what she did was dangerous. Doesn't sound like Oshun governs that so far. For a prostitute easily loses her honor. And it is impossible to prosper through prostitution. She was advised to admit her ignorance and to sacrifice. And it was a big sacrifice. And one of the big parts of the sacrifice was eso leaves, right? It's like a minty leaf. You crush up the leaves, grind some other stuff together that was mentioned. We won't mention all of that. But we mention all the ingredients. But we want to mention the fact that she had to make a medicine out of it, right? The awo, the priest, had to make a medicine out of it for her. And she had to cleanse herself with it and desist from that behavior. Now, what goes for is good for the goose is good for the gander. The same would have to happen for a man who is dealing with prostitutes or philandering around with a whole bunch of different women. Our culture does not condone any of this foolishness that a lot of you all are hearing out there. Especially I'm speaking to the new people that are like a tabula rasa, a clean slate. They're ready to learn the truth. You know, a lot of times they'll know the truth innately, besu, but they'll get twisted around by a lot of these fake priests. And when we say fake, they might have went through the proper initiation channels, but if they're teaching that this type of foolishness is okay, they're fake priests. They turn in whatever they need to turn in and like Ile Mosu, exile themselves or be exiled. One of the two, they need to go. So we pray that those of you willing to learn, really wanting to know, have gotten a lot from this video. Truth of the matter, we did not need any essay. Essay means verse in Yoruba. Any essay from any Odu to tell us that there was something wrong with dissexuality, so-called homosexuality. We don't need that. Like the Odu says, ironically, the woman was looking at a non-productive genital. Meaning you need a man and a woman for that, right? So common sense tells me that. Didn't need to see it in the Odu. We've been saying that years before we knew about the Odu. The same thing that the Odu said. Like, how can you produce families like that? And then you got these dissexual parents want to raise children that ain't theirs, not DNA related. We know people adopt children all the time, but they want to adopt children because they don't want to be in line with Besu. So they adopting children. What if they have no children to adopt? That lifestyle is so degenerate, we strongly believe that they will resort to kidnapping children. We do believe that. Men and women, they already have the highest rate of domestic violence cases. Dissexual couples, look it up, have the highest rate of domestic violence. We have literally talked to dissexuals before because you got to get intel. And some have come for readings to try to get rid of that lifestyle. So we're open to helping people get rid of that demon, right? That Yeklenu. And they've told us over and over enough times for us to believe it, that many dissexual relationships are violent, very violent. They start off smooth, get violent quick. And they say they're more violent than their heterosexual friends, so-called heterosexual. Yes, that's a fact. We've seen it. We've seen it. So, we talked to some police. Say that a lot of their cases, when we were in Atlanta, talked to some police, said a lot of their cases were coming to domestic violence cases where there was primarily a woman and a woman. And then second to that, man and man. So out of the large dissexual pool of domestic violence, the women dissexuals are leading the way. Amazing. Once again, ekaabokilombo@gmail.com, ekaabokilombo@gmail.com. Website is restorationhealing.com. That's where you will find our publications. And our monarchy is ganlodokingdom.com. GANLODO kingdom.com. We implore anybody that is serious about nation building, about family development and nation building, strictly from an African perspective, to contact us. If you're serious about, if you want to build with us, please feel free to contact us. If you want a roots reading that tells you where your people are from, who you are, exactly who you are, your family name, clan totem, how they got put into captivity, what they were doing before captivity, were they from a royal family, a blacksmith family, merchants, whatever, what year. All of that is, and much more, is spelled out in a roots reading. If you're interested in that, contact us at ekaabokilombo@gmail.com. All of our publications are at restorationhealing.com. So you have a choice now. For a long time, there has not been a choice to building in relation to Vodun and Isese. Now you do. Odigba.